All right, guys, we're getting ready to go live. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm about to go live. About to go live. Loud and clear. Awesome. Let me just unplug the speakers. All right, guys. Here we go. And hello, everybody. Welcome to Live from Lockdown, episode number 81. Good to see you all here. When I look away, by the way, that's because I have a screen there with the chat on it. So I'm looking on the chat there to see who's all there. And it looks like all our regulars are in the house. Lots and lots of you. Wonderful. So we're going to have a fun one this week. We're going to be doing some exposure blending. We're also going to look at some of your guys' pictures that you have shared. And we're going to do a little bit of Fix My Photo. Quick announcement that next week there will be no LFL because next week is Thanksgiving here in the United States. So I'm going to be eating turkey and corn and other yummy things. For those of you outside of the U.S., have a nice day off. And we'll be back in 2 weeks on the Thursday, whatever that Thursday is. Anybody know what's next week is Thanksgiving? What's the Thursday after that? I'll let you know anyway. So we'll be back then. So anyway, this week we're going to be going pretty good. I'm going to finish on time because I'm going to have to get out of here because I'm getting my booster shot today for COVID. So I want to make sure I get out of here and get that done. So anyway, where is Bruce? Am I seeing Bruce? Is Bruce loose? I'm not seeing him there. Last week he was in Las Vegas, and I actually forgot about that. That's why he was not there. He was on an airplane, but he did enjoy the phone call. So anyway, I'm going to switch to the screen right now. So let's go to our desktop. And thank you, Misty. I appreciate that kind greeting there. Good health to me. I will accept that. Thank you. Bruce is still tuning his guitar. He's tuning all his guitars. It'll take him probably a month to do that. Because he has a lot of guitars. All right, guys. So what we're going to do here is... I'm just getting bridge here really quickly. Let's get my bridge up and running so you guys can see the desktop okay, I take it. Let me know. Just to be sure here. Yep, looks like that's going. All right. So what we're going to do is look at exposure blending. And you might have seen there, I said, hey, is exposure blending, is it better than HDR? Is it not? It's different, and it definitely has, pluses and minuses of both. So as you know, as I've told the entire world, I have a new drone. And so last week, I went out and shot this image here, and you can see these houses and everything, showing up quite nicely. But of course, the sky's completely blown out. So here's another shot. So I wanted to get all the detail here in the sky. And as you can see, we've got all the detail here nicely. Shows in the water and everything. This might be a little bit dark. I actually took more exposures in this. So I'm just going to go extreme and just show the two though. But notice that it's a little bit hard to see what's in the foreground. So what we want to do is blend these photos together. Now, I've taught HDR and I still love HDR, and I've got all kinds of training and lessons and stuff on it. So I'm not going to go through that. Maybe another week. If you guys are interested in doing that, let me know there in the chat and also in the comments. If you came late, don't worry, you're not late because the replay will be live as soon as this is over. So if that's something you're interested in, yeah, we can do that. But I want to do something a little bit different. So essentially what we're doing is when the scene that you want to photograph is outside the dynamic range of your camera, meaning that, you've got your details in the highlights and the blacks are just very dark because your camera can't cover that, or to show the detail, it blows out the sky, what we do is we bracket. So we shoot one shot darker, one shot lighter, and exposure blending, you only need 2 shots. Same with HDR, you can actually get away with 2 shots. I've done HDRs up to 9 shots, but for one frame. So it depends on the scene and everything like that. But essentially, you're wanting something that's capturing the detail there in the sky, something that's capturing the detail in your foreground element. And then HDR roll allows a tone map it, put it together, different lesson. Once again, I've got tons of lessons on that. But here, what we're going to do is I'm going to blend them together. So I'm in Bridge. We could start in Lightroom or Bridge or wherever you want, or just open these into Photoshop. But the reason I'm starting in Bridge is because I want to open these in Camera Raw. So we're going to open them both right now. And yeah, guys, do me a favor. Hit that like button. That does help us with the algorithm on YouTube. All right, so what we have here. Oh, wow. So Zach Multimedia was there years ago, Los Angeles, LA, Adobe Group when I did the first, that was the first HDR tutorial you saw. Yeah, I've been teaching HDR for a long time, and I love it. It's great. Now, some people turned it into a filter or just, the kind of look. There was a thing known as the HDR look, which, I kind of enjoyed too, is, again, for that very illustrative kind of effect. And it kind of relegated a lot of HDR in people's minds to an effect. And now that effect is not so popular anymore, people are saying, oh, HDR is not, no one does HDR anymore. Well, that's not true. HDR is dynamic range. Do you like dynamic range? I like dynamic range. So you buy an HDR TV, it has dynamic range. XDR monitors, my monitor here, my BenQ is an HDR monitor. So yeah, dynamic range is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of these images and we can see them there. So, if I want to just click on each one, notice that we can see them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bright one and I'm going to tone this down a little bit because I feel like it's maybe just a little strong. So I'm going to bring it down. What I'm interested in here is this part of the photo. I know the sky's gone, so I'm not even worrying about trying to recover that sky. Let's go back here. But if I hit the highlights, watch this. I can recover a lot of that. Look at that. Just by pulling back on those highlights. That's really, and that's the nice thing about shooting in RAW. All right, so we're bringing it up. It's looking pretty nice. So all I'm doing here is recovering details in the highlight areas, but what I'm really interested in here is the buildings, maybe a little bit of here. All right, so let's go to the other scene. This is the darker scene. So I'm also going to recover the highlights a little bit because what matters to me here is I want to make sure I've got all that sky. Now I could open up the shadows a little and, even it's amazing how much you can get out of one shot. Look at this. I can get a pretty good foreground here with that. Although it's not going to give me exactly what I want. Now I have the ability, if I want, to just take this one shot. If all you have is one shot. This is not HDR, but if we're doing exposure blending, let me show you what you could do. You could take this one shot and you could open this into Photoshop. So Photoshop is going to launch in a second here. In the background, there we go. All right, so we could do that. Now, let's go back to Bridge. And I'm going to open these in Camera Raw. So here we are again. Same image. Now, we can use both images, but I just want to show you something quickly here. Let's reset this one. So now I care about that background. And I can open this again. So what we've done here is we have the same image. I've made it brighter and I've made it darker here. So I could just take that same image and just drag it on top of itself. See what we're doing here? And then start to mask it. Now, the other option, of course, is let's go back. If I have two shots, it's actually better. So let's open these in Camera Raw again. And I'm just going to recover this. So I'm just going to hit the Alt or the Option key and choose Reset. So I'm resetting those settings. I guess that didn't quite get it. That's fine. Let's go here. And we're just going to choose reset to default. There we go. See how dark that is? I'm going to really concentrate a little bit on that area here. So watch this. Recover those highlights just a little touch. Hit the exposure, but I really want the detail back there in the clouds. I'm also going to give this a little bit of a warmer kind of a hue. So see how this is looking very, very different than this one. Let me warm this one up a little bit. There we go. Now we're starting to get some of that color. So if I want to do both of these, I can do this. See that little thing that says the little pop, what do we call these things? The little ellipses. So we're going to do those ellipses. And then we can go here. We can merge to HDR if we wanted to do that. That's how we would do it here in Photoshop. But we're not going to do that way. We're going to open these. And I'm going to open as objects. So it's going to open them as smart objects inside of Photoshop. Notice it's a smart object. And this is a smart object. So I'm going to take the brighter one. I'm going to hold down the shift key. And I'm going to drop it on top of the darker one. Now these are two different images. Notice the boats and everything have moved. We've got a little bit of movement here. I'm going to attempt to align these automatically. So we're going to choose the edit. And then we're going to go to the blend. Where are we? The blending. Auto align. I guess it's not letting me auto align because these are smart objects. That's annoying. Okay, well, we'll rasterize these just to show you. So we're rasterizing. Looks like Bruce has made it. There he is. Bruce is loose. Bruce is in the house. Bruce is our moderator. Make sure get your drink orders in. We didn't get drinks last week, Bruce. You were in Vegas. What I'm trying to do is rasterize here, and for some reason I can't think and speak at the same time. Hang on, let me do this. Rasterize layer. Yeah, so Bruce was in Vegas having a good time while we were here working. That's all right. So we're going to choose auto align layers. And why don't we just use auto? Click OK. And now what this is going to do, see how these are perfectly lined up now. Before there was movement. Now there's no movement because we were able to align these images. And because this was shot from a drone, there was a little bit of movement between the two shots, and that's why it looked like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this top layer and we're going to hide it with a layer mask. I was invited, that's true. And we click on the Alt or the Option on the layer mask, and what that does is it creates an inverted layer and hides everything. I was invited, and I have reasons that I won't say why I couldn't go to see Sammy Hagar. All right, so we will go here in the black here, painting with the white brush. What we're going to do is mask in the areas that we want to show from our foreground or our brighter image. All right, so we're selecting the black mask. I'm grabbing a brush, and I want a white brush. If anybody knows, I work with David Lee Roth, so it's like conflict of interest there. All right, so painting in here, notice what we can do now. We can start to blend in these brighter image. So what we're doing is we're using the layer mask. If I hit the Alt or the Option key, where it's white, it's going to show the contents of that layer. And so rather than doing an HDR and tone mapping everything, we are doing it with the masks, and we're masking in the layers together. And what this does is it just gives us a more realistic image, but also what it enables me to do is a kind of dodge and burn now, where we can dodge and burn with the image. So notice I'm focusing on the middle, not so much the edges. And I'm going to brighten up the ocean a little bit where that sun's coming in. Look at this. So where I'm painting now is going to appear brighter. And so here we go, just painting in. And let's do a little bit here on the foreground where the reflection of the water is kind of coming in. Let it come into the water a little bit. And see what we can do here. We can just kind of paint this in. as if the light's just kind of coming through. Look at that. It starts to get pretty nice, right? And so this is a slightly different effect. Well, it's a very, very different result we're getting with this than we would do with an HDR. I'm just painting it in where I want it to fall. Notice I've got the flow set very low. We're at a 10% flow. I've got opacity set to 100. And we're kind of going for something a little bit different on this. See that? Now, one of the things is we've got this. If I hide the layer, notice that the outrigger here, or actually this one's just a skiff, I believe they call those. Any rowing people here? You know, let me know if that's called a skiff. I believe it is. So these are in different positions because of movement and the time in the photo. So what I'm not going to be able to do is go in here and then start to semi-show the skiff in the bottom there, because that would look weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dodge and burn onto this layer. I'm actually just going to dodge. It's a boat. Well, you know, there are many different types of boats, Tracy. So let's go here. And we're going to change this to overlay blending mode. Row your boat. It's a rowboat. Okay, let's just call it. I don't think that's a rowboat, though. A rowboat to me is a dinghy. So I love about, you know, how different people call things, different things. It's quite interesting. Okay, so we're zooming in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint with white onto this layer in overlay blend mode. And then this will enable us to do just a little bit of dodging or adding the brighter areas in here. And so this is going to create, I don't know, I could have just applied a gradient and used the boat of the brighter image. But I just feel like if we create a little bit of a rim here, it's going to give us a little bit more drama, and it's going to look more kind of fun. So let's get the oars or paddles or whatever you guys want to call these, the sticks with flat things on the end. Ping pong, extended ping pong bats. I don't, you know, whatever you guys want to call these. All right, so I'm just going to go there and do a little bit more there on these paddles. I think oars are like fancy. People call them oars. Here we go. Shell 8-oared gig. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. It's a shell and it's an 8-oared gig. There we go. I knew somebody knew there was something. You know, there's always a proper name for everything. And that's the nice thing about these live chats. There's always somebody that knows these. And there's probably someone in the chat that's probably maybe even more than one who's rode one of these. Or whatever you call it. Paddled. Paddled just doesn't sound like, you know, you go to Harvard or Yale and you're in the paddling team, you know. Yeah, we were in the paddling team at Yale. Yeah, that something you just never hear, right? Yeah. No, I didn't go to Yale. So here we go. And the sport is sculling. I thought sculling was a drinking contest, but okay, there we go. So we're lightening this up a little bit. And you know what I'm going to do? No, I'm not. I was going to lighten up the right where it was hitting the reflection here, but I think that would look weird. And then this dude here in the pontoon, which, what's the name of this pontoon? Since we've got some smart people here. This boat. It's a boat, right? It's a boat, but probably has a name too. The pontoon. And the dude riding in this boat probably has a fancy name. Let's see, what do we got? You drove by Yale once. Well, there's a street down the road called Yale. It's near Harvard, which is another street. All right, so let's have a look, guys. So we have before and after. See how we're lightening that up? And Kirsty was like, paddle, no. See no evil, hear no evil. So if I want to brighten up that area that we were dodging and burning, I can hit Control J and double that up. Oh, look at that. And that gives us a nice little result. I think I like somewhere in between, so we're going to split the difference, pull the opacity down a little bit. And we're starting to get somewhere with that, you know? I don't know about you guys, but I kind of like that. You know, here was our before and our after. I don't know. I think that would print. What do you guys think? Hello, Gary. Gary Dillon. Good to see you. Here's a question. Polka Dot Studios. Is only the dark layer being affected since the boats do not line up and you're using dodging and burn? No, I'm dodging and burning right over the top of everything. But it doesn't matter because if you look in this particular image, let me hide the background, you can see this is all I've painted back. So none of the boats are showing in the image at all. So the only part is showing is here. And because I'm dodging and burning, well, I'm not burning, I'm just dodging over the top, any of the areas that I paint are just going to affect the whole image. And since I'm doing that, I could also enhance certain areas even beyond, you know, what we're doing with the adjustments here. You know, if I wanted to go in here and grab some of these other areas, let's make this a little bit bigger just so you can see quickly. I can make these even brighter. Look at this. See, if I wanted to hit that roof, or I wanted to hit that roof, and I might even do this, you know, like some of these areas you really want to make them pop even more. You could do this even on top of the brighter image. And it just depends how much time you want to spend on here, you know, adding some dimension. But what could look nice is actually doing that in the reflections, just going down this area here, just lightening this up a little bit. Let's go bigger. See, I'm just going to hit that. If I wanted to just give it a little extra pop, same thing over here. Give the beach a little extra pop. Maybe even have it where the light's coming through here. So the sun's coming through. So see what I'm doing here? So I'm mixing dodging and burning here with exposure blending. There's our, I keep saying dodging and burning, but I'm just dodging. And let's go to that one there. Give that a little boost. See what I'm doing? See how I can just boost that if I wanted? Boom, right through there. Like the sun's coming through. And Jeffrey, thank you. I'm glad you like that better. And Yvonne thinks that looks good. I'm glad you guys like that. All right, so essentially, you know, this is a little different kind of an approach than normal. It's creating this little pool of light. I think it's making the photo feel a little bit more intimate. And maybe we'll just crop it down a little bit now when we're done. I'm just going to clear that shape of that crop. And let's just crop that in just a little. Bring it into the side. Pop it in there. And I don't know. I think it's, you know, it's a little, feels more intimate to me. And Rael says they like it now. Okay, so let me save. Control S, and we'll save that somewhere. I'll drop that onto the desktop. I'll just hit save, and maybe I'll play around with that and I'll post it later. So now if you guys are following me on any of the socials, you know, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, that's at photoshopCAFE, then, you know, I'll post this. And there's other things we could do to this. Maybe I'll give it an interesting, I'm going to select all the layers. Oh, by the way, if you go up under select all layers, you can select all the layers that way too. I don't know if you knew that. Or, here's another tip. Hold down Alt-Shift-A and nothing happens. Okay, I messed that up. That was awesome. Well done, Colin. Command-Shift-A? Nah, I knew it was one of them. Nope. If you go under select, there we go, all layers. What is that? Option Command A. There we go. Option Command A. Boom. You can select the layers. There you go. I knew it was one of those. Okay, and then we hold down Shift Option Command, or that would be Shift Alt Control. So all three modifiers, and then hit the E key. That gives us a layer on top, and now I can take this layer, we're going to go and filter, camera raw filter, and we can bring this into camera raw and maybe just tweak the exposure, give it a little boost there. I'm going to warm it up even more. Oh, see that? Nice. Might take that exposure back again now. Recover the highlights just a touch. Not too much, because it starts to make the clouds and the sunset look very fake if I do this too much. Like, see here? It recovers a lot, but it looks a little fake. So we don't want to go too much on that one. And we could pop the shadows just a little bit. Give it some blacks. Pop those whites. See what we're doing? We're just doing a final overall adjustment, and all of this is now moving together. And what can sometimes look good too is just give it a little boost of vibrance, and then counter that by bringing down the saturation just a little bit. So let's look at this as an option. So there's another option, you know, like there's before and there's like warming it up and doing some of that. I don't know, what do you guys like? Before or after? I'd like to see what you guys think, because I'm a little torn on that myself. The jetty, could you do something with the jetty? Sure we could. After. Okay, well, everybody likes the after. All right, so we like that warm tone. All right. Wow, look at that. I am schooled. Everybody likes them. Polka dot thinks in between. Well, why don't we try that? Go a little bit in between. So there's before, there's after, and we could just dial it down just a little bit. All right, so there's a before from Dieter. After looks nice and warm. So everyone likes after. I guess it adds to that kind of warm, intimate kind of feel that we're going for. And, you know, the afters have it. I mean, you guys have said after, like, wow. So I just need to ask you guys, there's no question which one you like better. A little bit in between. All right, says Rainy. All right, let's go a little bit in between there. Let's drop this down to about 80. What do you think? How's that look, guys? And this is the Hasselblad camera on the Mavic 3. Let me bring this to 100% so you can see. Look at that. Look how nice that is. Love the quality on that. Now, generally speaking, when I'm doing these adjustments, you know, the dodging and burning, you should be in at this percentage here. You should be in at 100%. I can see a little bit where the water's crossing over the other water because of where we were painting it. So, but it's kind of interesting. It's creating an interesting texture there, which I don't hate. It's just different. All right. So that's essentially how we did that. So I think what we're going to do is right now we're going to look at some of your guys' pictures that you posted to Facebook. So if you liked this so far, hit that like button. And if you haven't yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. You won't miss any of my videos. All right. So let's go in back to Bridge and we're going to look at this week's picks from our Facebook group. Now, Bruce, could you please post the link to our Facebook group so that everyone can find out how to get there? And that was just an effect there. If you guys want to add your sound effects while I'm zooming in and out like that, go ahead. So John William Bell posted this, today's art. Please enjoy. Thank you, John William. And once again, if I mention your name and your art, speak up. Let us know you were there. And that'd be awesome. Okay, so there's John William. Thank you. Is that like John Williams? You know, John Williams. Yeah. All right, so nice shot. And so Matt Gibson did this. I thought this is kind of clever, revealing nature. So you get this sheet of paper, some hands tearing it open, and the birds flying through. Nice. Good job. I like that. Clever. Good concept. And Bruce just posted the link in that group. If you guys are not part of the Facebook group, just go there and I'll accept you, and then you can post your work in here. And it looks like Hannah and Tony posted on this one, and John. So this is where we hang out in between live streams, one of the places, but this is our Facebook group for photoshopCAFE. All right, so this is nice. I like Oga's great story here, you know, of the dog and the master. coming to the dog, and I love the hazy effect here. I love the feel, like the foggy, hazy feel is very, very nice. Got to duck out. Be well. Okay, see you in 2 weeks, Tracy. Have fun. Marlene posted this. Can I hit Control-0? No, I'm in bridge. Just kind of weird sometimes. Yeah, and so this is cool. Ballerina sitting on the rock with the star field in the background. Very nice. Nice job. Rosemary Drummond. Are you here, Rosemary Drummond? I think this might be my favorite image that was posted this week on our group. Time for Tea. Just love this. Is so well executed. What I love about this is, we've got an interesting story here. Is this from there was a movie it kind of reminds me of. Is it like a Disney kind of movie where all this tea, like Cinderella or something, I don't know, someone did magic and made it do this. But I love if you look at the blurring here, it's very, very well done. This has a very nice crafted feel to it. One, we've got the shallow depth of field, and this is matching in the utensils, and that just gives it a nice feel. And that's something you guys really want to watch for, is when you're creating composites, make sure that the depth of field, like if something, think about, for example, there's a scene. The front of the scene is here, the back of the scene is here. If you're shooting at a very small aperture, such as say f11 or whatever, all of this is going to be in focus. If you're shooting a shallower, you're going to be at like 2.8, and maybe you're focusing at the front, or maybe you're focusing at the back or the middle. When you're doing the compositing, keep that in mind, because sometimes I see people do that. The front of the object is sharp, and then it gets blurry at the back, and then there's something, or let's say the front is sharp here, or the front is blurry, and then the back is sharp, and then over here something is blurry. You've got to keep in mind where that field is, and then apply the amount of blur or sharpening on your photos or the different elements to match. And when you do that, it's going to look better. I see a lot of people forget to do that, and then they're looking at their composites and it's like, it doesn't quite look real, something's off. And sometimes it's that, or you're shooting like one object is shot for very shallow depth of field, like an f2.8 or f1.4 or something. The front part's sharp, the back sharp part's blurry, and then there's another object to it that's all sharp. You've got to keep that in mind. So anyway, just one of those things. Like parts of a Vermeer painting. Sorcerer's Apprentice was the movie. Thank you, Warren. And Hannah, I believe you are here. So nice job here on this. I like that. It's very cool. Good job. Rod Shelley likes to use depth of field in his 3D renders. It adds to the realism. And Yvonne struggles with that. Yeah, so just bear that in mind. Yvonne, it's just knowing or being aware of something sometimes. Maybe it's going to take you a little while to master it. But now that you're aware of it, you can start to try to work it into your images. And John Schultz, are you here, John? I like this piece, this chess piece. Hannah, there you are. Thank you. Good job. Nice image. Thank you for sharing. And John Schultz here. Chess pieces in a dark and gloomy scene. I like that. It's kind of cool. And I actually like the expression on the face of the knight there. It's, I don't know if that's intentional, but it has a, kind of a worried look, which is kind of nice. So good job there, John. And so that's what we're sharing for this week. All right. Now we're going to go into a segment that we have not done in a long time. And yep, we are going to do a Fix My Photo segment today. And if you want your images to be used in Fix My Photo, make sure you upload them to fixmyphoto.net, not fixmyphoto.com, not fixmyphotos.net, fixmyphoto.net, which is what you see there on the screen. If you have a RAW file, upload it. If you have a JPEG or a TIFF, that's fine. I don't think layered Photoshop files will come through the way that we're doing it. So make sure it's like that. Make sure at least 2,000 pixels. Full size is better. Obviously, full resolution. You know, the better the image you can give me, the more inspired I'm going to be to work with it, and the more I can do with it. I prefer unedited, so I can edit it. Make sure you put your name in the file name so we know it's you. I can shout you out, give you credit. And maximum 3 submissions per person per week. And Bruce also posted the link to Fix My Photo in the chat there. Now, if you don't see the chat, you don't see that link, it's because you're watching the replay and you're part of the replay crew. Welcome. You're part of the cafe as well. And of course, I will put that link. I'll try to remember to put that link. I believe it's in the comment section anyway. There on YouTube. If you look at the description, that link should be there. All right, so having said all of that, let's go and look at what some of you guys have done, what you've submitted. All right, so here we go. We've got some pictures. And let's have some fun with this. FMP, Fix My Photo. Love it, John. All right, so we've got some different photos here. So I have an idea. I just have a fun idea here. So we have, don't believe I'm doing a good job of saying his name. I don't know I can pronounce his name. So let's just open this photo inside of Photoshop and have a look. Change my screen. Okay, let's go. Thank you, Bruce. So here we are on the screen, and we have, this is Okachukwa. Okachukwa? Am I saying it right? If I'm not, I apologize. So, all right, so let's see what we can do here. Let's cut him out first thing, because he's just begging to be cut out. So I'm just going to choose Select Subject. Let's go into Select a Mask. Let's have a look. How good is that selection? You know what? That's not bad. The edges could do a little bit of work, so we'll give it a little radius there. Little drop of feather and some contrast. Sometimes when you use feather with contrast, it can smoothen out those edges. See that? Just smoothing out those edges nicely. Okay, that's going to work for what I have in mind. And we're going to click OK. The link does not work. Let me check that link right now. Let's test that out. Fixmyphoto.net, Fix My Photo. So this is what you should get, and you can add your files there. So it is working, guys. So please let me know if you guys can see it or you can't see it. Try that again. Let me know. Otherwise, maybe it's a permissions thing, and I'll need to go in there and play around with that. All right, so I'm going to mask out our friend here. And server cannot be found. Okay, guys, I don't know why did that work for me then? Okay, so here's a Dropbox link. Let me give you this. Does that work if you guys click that directly? And if there's a permissions thing, I'll look into that and after we're done. All right, so I want to find some images here. So let's go. I feel like we want to send him to space. So let's try the Free Photos extension that we have here. And we're going to use Free Stock Search Pro. Dropbox works. Okay, well that worked. That link works. Okay, so I've just got to set up something with the... Okay, let me ask you, when you did the Fix My Photo... Oh, hang on a sec. I think I know. Make sure the capitalization is right. I bet you that's what it is. All right, so Let's do rocket ship. We'll just try rocket. And by the way, this is a free stock search, in case you didn't know. I told you guys about this one before. And essentially what this is, it's just a plugin that you can get from Photoshop. If you go under find extensions on Exchange, click on there, takes you into Adobe extensions, Adobe Exchange here, and it goes in there. Just search for your free stock, and that gives us this option. So we can go through here, and now we can look for a rocket ship. And that one's kind of fun. Let's see what we got. That one's kind of interesting. That one's from Pixbay. Let's open that. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, there's a good one. Okay, I kind of like that. Okay, looks like Thomas managed to get that working. Good job. Okay, now this is what we're going to do. This is going to be fun. Let's do a porthole. There we go. And that one there will work. Let's download that. So these are just dropping into the image. All right, let's see what we've got. So these, fortunately, are smart objects, so I can scale these. How big can I make this one? Can I make this big enough that we can use it? That's not what I was looking for. Let's try this one. Wow, look at all the frost on there. That's kind of cool. All right, so let's make this one nice and big. Just zooming all the way in. Yeah, I like that frost, the cooling. You know what? I'm just going to go super huge with this. I think you guys know what I'm going to do with it. All right, so there's a rocket ship. Let's take the porthole, and we're going to cut this out. So I'm going to use the elliptical marquee tool, make an ellipse. Then we're going to go under select, and we're going to transform selection. This is the quick way, by the way, to select these kind of shapes. Rod Shelley just uploaded. Okay. Select, transform selection. And let's go here. And what I'm trying to do here is just match the shape of that porthole. That looks pretty close. What do you guys think? Boom. Let's create a mask. Just click on the mask. Awesome. So let's size this. We're going to make this, by the way, super extra large. Just for fun. Okay, so someone's going to say, oh, it's all right. We're just having fun, guys. All right, so let's go in here, and we'll drop that porthole in there. And let's zoom in. We probably want to kind of warp it a little bit, so let's do that. In fact, why don't we move it up to the top? There we go. And I'm going to hit Control T and right click, choose warp. And do I have to rasterize that? Let's rasterize it. There we go. And now we can do the warping like this. Split warp. I'm holding down the control or the command key to split this, and I'm just going to go on those edges there. those edges there. How's this going to work? I have no idea, but let's see how it goes. And I hit the shift key, grab all 4 of these, and if I pull those down, there we go. I can go in the middle, and I'm just trying to make it look a little bit like it's going around the edge. Let's do the same thing, shift key on the other side. There we go. I should have unselected the other side first though, so shift key around there. There we go. And we're just starting off. Whoa, that's not quite how I wanted that to work. Let's go the other way. And this can be a little bit of a fiddling game, trying to get this right. Maybe if I just shift select these 2. Let's pull these down. There we go. Alright, so let's hit enter. Oh, that got a little weird. Let's do Liquify. Alright, so there's Liquify. Let's show the backdrop so we can see what we're putting it onto. Zoom in a little bit. And I am going to freeze mask it. So that's the freeze mask, because I don't want the middle here to warp. Make it look a little bit bigger. Let's change the pressure's good, size. Let's take that density down a little bit. Okay, so what I'm doing is protecting the middle so that doesn't warp. Now, if we use this tool, maybe this will give us, yeah, there we go. Just do a little bit there, a little bit on the other side. So what I'm doing is I'm shrinking that and then maybe push it in a little bit. So let's make this a little bit bigger. Just push it in. Push it in. There we go. Click OK. And yeah, it's looking good. I got to fix that mask though. So let's go up here, grab the brush, hit the X key. I guess we could just use the elliptical marquee tool again to fix it. Let's do this. Select subject, transform selection. There we go. Now let's get that outside again. Pull it up. Do the edges. There we go. Nice. Great. Command Shift I. Fill that with black. Control D. All right, we're getting there. Now we have a resolution issue, of course, as well as an angle issue. I'm just going to put this inside a smart object. And then that's just going to enable me to that's interesting. So we're getting that, the whole thing. Okay, so we've got our Liquify there. So I don't want to mess up our Liquify stuff, but you know what? I'm just going to rasterize it. I'm done. Now, I would recommend when you do that, do a copy of it so you, and I'm going to hold the shift key, because see, I have to change the angle. So I've got to squish it down a little bit so it looks a little better. All right. So clearly this is not perfect, but this is going to be fun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the layer with our hero here. Let's hide everything. Let's make a selection around our hero. Control C to copy him. Actually, let me apply that mask to Control D. Yeah, there we go. And let me go around here once again. Control C to copy. And then we're going to go back, turn all this back on again. That rocket would have been much better, but unfortunately it didn't work, and we don't have all day, so let's make our selection around here. sure you guys already know you can hold down the space bar and it'll enable you to move the circle as you're working with it. Okay, so I'm just trying to make a selection around the inside here. And then we're going to choose Edit. Do they still have Paste Into? Paste Into is something you almost never use. And what that does is it creates a mask. And if we select our hero here, Control T or Command T, we can free transform this. And of course he's going to be giant. And I want to have just a little bit of this Control click to select on here, and then we're just going to create a new layer above. And I want to put just a little bit of something that looks like there's glass there. So we're going to grab the gradient tool. We're going to use white to transparent, pull that down a little bit so it looks like there's some glass in there. Do the same thing on the other side, but maybe go a little higher. So it's not just an empty window. And there we go. There is our friend on the way to space. All right, so that's just some fun there. All right, so I hope you guys enjoy these kind of, it's just fun. We're just having some fun here. And it looks like some other pictures have been uploaded. What have been uploaded here? Oh, that's cool. Thomas Bex, are you there? Looks like he did one of those tricks where he literally took a photo and then changed position, took another photo, composited those together. That's fun. I like that. Good job. And Rod Shelley has a drone. And is that Rod in the middle of the road there? Is that you? Long shadow. Good time of the day. Good job. Nice. Love the full colors there. Lovely. Good job. All right. So what I want to do is, somebody was asking a question and in the form of a photograph. And this is Kelly Ward. Are you here, Kelly Ward? Say I'm here if you are. And that wasn't Rod. So that was someone else probably trying to figure out who was flying the drone. And so the question that's being asked here is the distortion with the glasses, right? Kelly Ward. Okay, so sometimes it's better to just photograph it right in the first place. So one of the big things that I see is going on here is, if you look at this, is a 3.3 millimeter lens, focal length. This is a 3 millimeter focal length. So this is a very, very wide focal length. So that's going to cause a lot of distortion in the face. So one of the things you want to try to do is not zoom in so much, use a longer lens, or just get it further away from you. So one of the things you could do to try and reduce the distortion on the face, for example, because there's a lot of distortion there, we can go into the develop and let's go to the lens correction. Now, profile correction would work. I think this was shot on a phone or something, so it's probably not going to work. So we need to go to manual, and what you want to do is just go the opposite way on this distortion a little bit, constrain crop, and you can kind of minimize a little bit. See, like now you're not looking so much like a cartoon character, and I feel like also under transform, you want to do the scale. Oh, not the scale. What is the one I'm looking for? Aspect. Here we go. Aspect ratio. And pull this back just a little bit. Of course, I'm not sure what you look like in real life, what the shape of your face is, but I feel like, if we do that, it's definitely looking more natural, reducing that. Now, as far as the indenting here from the glasses, I see you, Rael. The problem you're having there, my solution to that is actually quite simple. What you want to do is, if you're doing a shot like that, take off your glasses, take a photograph, don't move. Put your glasses on, taking a second photograph, put them on top of each other, and just mask it out. That's actually the easiest way to get rid of reflections. It's also the easiest way to get rid of distortion and different things like that. And clearly, you're doing selfies, so it's not that hard to do that. And I would actually recommend doing that, and it would help. So, all right, guys, you got that, Thomas. So, so I guess, guys, I've got to go and get my booster shot. So it's been fun hanging out with you guys this week. And we won't be here next week because we're doing Thanksgiving. What's the Thursday after Thanksgiving, guys? If you know the date there, it's the Thursday after Thanksgiving. Someone knows. Come on. What date is that, guys? I'll bring up a calendar here. Let me bring up a calendar. And so that would be the 2nd. December the 2nd. So, yeah. So we'll be back at 1 p.m. Pacific time, December the 2nd. Don't forget to check out next week for Black Friday through Cyber Monday. We will have a special sale at photoshopCAFE. So I'll send that out in the newsletter, as well as put that up on the site. So check that out over the weekend if you're looking for a discount on some of the training. Now, some of the training that will not be discounted will be the Photoshop for photographers, Lightroom for photographers. If we do discount that, it will never be more than 20% because when we launch those, we do this special, and those ones don't usually get the discounts. But some of the other titles, we'll have some nice discounts for you guys. So anyway, I've enjoyed spending this last hour with you guys. Once again, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Colin will be selling his couch. If you want my couch, it's yours. Come and pick it up, man. Just, some meals between the cushions there. You could feed a small family. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining us this week. It's been fun, and I'll see you in 2 weeks on December the 2nd. So don't forget, hit the like button, thumbs up, and subscribe. All right, see you guys. And thanks, Russ, for the happy drone shooting. And Udgear, good to see you. Cheryl Joan, good to see you. Yvonne, good to see you. Rod Shelley, Orcapest, nice to see you. Polka Dot Studio, Colin Little, Bruce Bicknell, of course, Stuart Braithwaite, Kiora from New Zealand, Robin, good to see you again, Hannah, Janice, Stan, Dana, good to see you again, Misty, Klaus, Rod, Shelley, Kirsty, Dojo, wow, all regulars this week, Yvonne, Linda, Polka Dot, Misty, if I'm saying your name twice, I'm going up, I'm reading it backwards, Thomas, good to see you, Linda, Stan, good to see you, Stan B. Tony Mule, of course. I mentioned you already today. Anita, good to see you. And John Oswell, Jeffrey, Kirsten. So, Pigeon River. Oh, wow. Yeah, there you are. Yep. Lots of all regulars. So, thanks, guys, for joining us. Have a happy Thanksgiving for those of you in the U.S. and for those of you overseas. Have a happy Thursday. That's next week.